Yeah, you could change the assignment to
Okay.
them. So how does that get into that machine is the question. Excuse me. On the back of this, you'll see we got a USB and we got two of these MIDI cable jacks. All right, now when they first created this whole MIDI thing, you'd only see these on a controller, which is you'll see a MIDI in and you'll see a MIDI out. On some nicer keyboards or ones that have a little bit more extra in it, you'll see a MIDI through on them too, so you can like run the signal into it and daisy it to another one, and it gives you basically an extra output.
Daisy chaining.
Daisy chaining purposes.
Signal path to another device.
If I had 20 of these, I could use the through on them all the way down the line. So the important thing to know though is a MIDI cable can only transfer data one way. That's why there's an in and an out on. And you never hook the in to an in or an out to an out. You hook the in to an out and out to an in. So it's not the same. They got to switch somewhere. All right. That's why they started making these with USB, because USB can transfer both to and from the device. So it can do both of them. You see a lot more of these with USB now. Each MIDI cable can transmit 16 channels of information. So I can have 16 layers of different channels being sent, different things going on in there. It gets kind of complex with advanced MIDI routing stuff. We get into that a little later with what we can do with MIDI. So that's how that does that. And then once it hits the computer, once it hits the computer now, if I double click on the MIDI track that I recorded, I can drag this up and I can actually see all the data that I played in here. I can see all of it. And then there should be a way to look at like my pitch bend data. I can write in pitch bend or modulation. There should be a sustain control, an expression control.
The expression is the dynamics, like how hard you're hitting it.
Yeah. Or
you call that velocity?
Yeah, it'd be like an expression pedal.
Okay. Yep.
So you can do that, or we can just look at notes. And the cool thing about MIDI is it's a non-destructive form of music. All this is doing is triggering this synth plugin. That's all it's doing.
Control information.
Control information, exactly. So basically I played it, but the computer's triggering it for me. So I don't have to play it once it's recorded. The cool thing about that is, say it's a bass sound, and I don't want it to be bass sound, maybe I want it to be strings. I can take that and just change the sound and never have to change my performance at all. So it's very easy to manipulate, and when you manipulate it, it doesn't destroy the quality of it, which is awesome. You don't ever, you can change MIDI all day long.
You could apply those commands to different voices.
Oh yeah,
do them the same.
You betcha, man. I could go in here and duplicate this track 5 times so they all have the same performance, and then make one a piano, make one a bass, make one a string, make one a shaker, I don't know.
And then you can also change them, edit those commands.
And then I can actually go in here and change all these notes. I could say maybe at the end of that I did flub it pretty bad, like right here. Well, that's fine. I messed this walk up. See, that was way early. So if I miss that horribly, I can come in here and say, okay, well, this note wasn't supposed to be there. Delete that. Highlight these notes and bring them over. And I should be able to go back and listen to her again. Hopefully that'll be on time.
It's like laying down a root track.
I messed it up still, but I could sit here for a while and manipulate this until it was exactly on time. And I have all these little lines in here. It's basically showing me where my quantization is at. If we look really, really close, you'll see it kind of looks like a ruler. This one's just a little bit taller than these guys, and that one is, and that one is. It's going to be my downbeat of 1, downbeat of 2, downbeat of 3, downbeat of 4, measure 6. So that's how you can kind of get your increments in there a little bit more.
Can you change the resolution of that grid?
The resolution.
Well, because like if it's it's a 64th note or to a 32nd note,
You can change
then when you go to-
quantize.
Oh, yeah,
Where-
right. But then when you write a note, that you just write it within the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
see if I choose quantize, it's gonna change everything.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's
There
fine.
might be a preference.
What's the root of that term, quantize? Where does that come from?
Quantize? I mean,
Oh, when you want to correct for
Quantization.
time.
Yeah, I
you
know.
talking about where does the word come from? Or?
Yeah.
I have no
mean, how-
idea. It
Sometimes, sometimes if you find the root of the word, you get an idea of the concept that they're using.
Quantity. Quantize. You're changing the.
probably Greek or something.
It's the amount of the note and the time, and where it's placed.
Yeah.
When you can have drum parts because a
So
lot of
when
drum
you-
parts. A lot of drum parts are MIDI.
Whatever recording software you get, that quantize
Bedhead came up with that word.
It just corrects. It corrects for time.
in the software.
If you want it to be like a
Outside of the
robot.
software world, I
Right.
don't know where you're getting it from, but in the recording world of software, I know that quantize is a large tool, I guess, to lay your timing out in your music, whether it's MIDI notes or recorded sound. You quantize your notes to increment them in the time
Okay,
you'd like
the
them.
quantizing, yeah, quantities, pulses, length.
It's going to remove nuances though that you might want to have.
Right, so when you say quantize, that's when it automatically sets it to a grid, takes all the expression out of it, just like a
It could
computer
correct
would.
for time
Yes,
and
you
take
could say
out
that.
your. Depending on what your resolution is, though.
It depends on what
Quantize-
you're quantizing and how much you quantize. A lot of times I will not quantize piano tracks because a lot of expression is in a piano track. I'll move it a little bit, but I won't sit there and be like, all right, this whole thing needs to be quantized.
So you can tell it quantize like 20% or something, just to move everything
In
closer.
bigger softwares you can.
Okay. Like if it's really bad, you can like
Pro
tighten it up a
Tools has
little
got a
bit.
chain. Pro Tools has got a thing where you can say I want to quantize it, but I want to swing it. I want to, do it like a duple.
What about
You can do stuff like that.
Logic?
Logic as well.
Yeah, as well. Okay.
Yeah, Logic and Pro Tools are bigger softwares. They have a lot more intuitiveness to it.
Okay.
With this one, it's going to be as simple as it on beat or not.
I saw that Pro Tools also has the mixing board interface,
Yes.
preamp strips and stuff.
Yeah, this one does not have it the same way. It still exists, but it's more like on the side over here.
Okay.
What else can we do real quick? What I'm going to do is just bring this part back a little bit, guys. And I'm going to loop it out to the rest of that loop bar, which is that yellow thing. I want to show you a couple more things quick. So we kind of got like a basic idea started here for this song. Master volume's down here in the bottom right, so I can control the master volume. If I want to bring in loops, I can click this little roller coaster looking thing down here in the bottom right, and that'll bring up my loop menu, or hide it. And when I click the loop menu, I get all these cool adjectives like urban, or world, or electronic, or electric piano, or all sorts of kooky stuff. So if I wanted to bring in like a percussion loop, I can just click on percussion, and I get this giant list of different loops down here. A thing to know is the blue squares are audio files that were actually recorded, someone playing them. So that's an audio file, just like these two here. If I go in here and look for another one, the green ones are MIDI tracks, so I can manipulate those a lot more. So if I want to use a MIDI loop, all I gotta do is drag it in here underneath all the other tracks, and there it is. And I can bring that back to the beginning here. Even though it doesn't fit.
Is it following your other MIDI track?
No, this is all pre-recorded.
It's all E minor, right?
Pre-MIDI. Yep, it's all in E minor though. So it has its own little walk in here. I could go and manipulate it, because I kind of did a funky walk. I went up to B. Yeah, I went up to B. So that one goes down, actually. But I could go in here and change all that too, straight. I could just stay on E if I wanted. Take all that stuff and just change it out. But I might have to sit here and really listen to this because these chords might get off.
Can I ask you an equipment question?
Yeah.
How big a screen can you get before it starts pixelating?
It depends on. It depends on what your output is. I can go in here and change it.
But you can't go higher than the. Will the screen go? Like if you have you're using a TV that's 1080p.
Oh, that's what I run mine at home at.
And how big is it?
It's a little smaller than that one.
Okay. But something like on
It's got a lot nicer.
a 55 diagonal screen, will it look stupid, or will you have pretty good resolution?
It should be fine as long as your video card can handle it. It's all about the computer. Like, the computer's gonna have to have a video card on there to
Well,
divvy it out.
the new minis, iMac minis, have an HDMI port in the back.
Yeah,
They said the
HDMI.
computer talks to the chip in the TV and will go to the highest resolution
Yeah.
that the
Yeah.
TV
It'll
can
just
handle.
it'll go right into your software or your system settings. Just
So it should look like
preferences.
this then. It should still be clean.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A while ago,
They would pixelate.
it would pixelate really bad.
Okay.
Today, in age, they have the HDMI thing. It's really not as horrible as it used to be.
Okay. All right.
It used to
Thank
be
you.
a lot worse. No problem. Trying to think if I missed anything.
Actually, when you're laying down the first tracks, it seems like as you're playing in, double it where you have the audio track and then the MIDI track. Because it seems like when you first laid out, like if you're trying to listen to the speakers, and there were a couple times when you missed a beat, it's like you couldn't hear what was going on, right?
Yeah, these things are really quiet.
So, can you double it like you're playing it on your guitar where you're doing an audio track and a MIDI track so that if you make mistakes you can correct it on the MIDI and at least hear it?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Well, unless you take and dump it into a MIDI track and have it digitized as you go along, you could.
Yeah.
That's painful.
That's a painful
You
process.
better play the
though.
part over.
Oh, okay.
No, that's gonna be a painful process. There is a guitar synthesizer pedal that we sell here over in accessories that has a MIDI out on it, which will send all the MIDI data. It's a Roland. It's a big blue board.
Okay.
That one's pretty nice. It's
Have
the
a
nicest
Roland
one I've
88.
seen for that
I have
entire
a Roland
thing.
88. An old one. I have an old Roland, was it 88? That has an expression pedal on it and all that. A MIDI controller for the guitar,
Okay.
so I can use that.
Theoretically, you could. You have to probably map it unless there's already mapping out there for it. You're getting into
Mapping is when you're
stuff.
assigning.
Yeah, you have to assign it.
Okay, I haven't got a MIDI book yet. I'm starting to get the hang of it, but
And when you get into like the layering and all the different channels you can send on, things kind of get a little complicated.
it's trying to match the model you have in your head to the conceptualization that they have. Some writers are very good at transmitting information so you can understand it, and some writers are just,
I understand that.
yeah, everything is obtuse.
Yeah.
Hey Josh, when you recorded that, the guitar track,
Yeah.
and when you're recording that, and you had that yellow loop bar up, then, if you would have continued to record longer here, you'd jump back and you'd re-record in the beginning. Is that right?
Yes.
And
It would
is
come
it
out
a
as
second
different
track or is it a
takes.
brand new?
If I were to do that with a shorter snippet, okay, let's bring it down to a 4-bar loop instead, right? If I push play now, it'll jump right to that loop, right? GarageBand can only play when loop mode is on, other than here. I cannot play over here if loop is on. It'll jump in. Alright, so if I want to go in here and pull in a piano track, right? I'll push enter to go to the beginning, and we'll push record. Now it's in E. Oh man. It's one of those mornings.